Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Frank Granito, talking to one of our contributing authors to the new book, Digital Transformation Demystified. And John Thorpe is with me. John, welcome. How are you today?
I'm pretty good, thanks, Frank. Yourself?
I'm actually doing very, very well. Well, John, you are one of the contributing authors to this book coming in the next couple of months. You chose the title, Value, the guiding star for your chapter. Tell me why you chose that title.
The question I've asked my clients over the many, many years is what value are you expecting to get out of this investment or whatever you're doing?
Huh,
And I've really found in most cases that they had no idea. I, I,
interesting.
I remember one guy said, "Why are you asking me this? Just go build it." So, and I think an even more fundamental problem in most organizations, they don't understand what does constitute value for their organizations. They focus on, when they're doing this, they focus on time and cost, and they really don't think about value and how it's created. And it's
Interesting.
no wonder that the failure rate around information technology investments continues to be in the 70 to 80% range. It reminds me of Alice in Wonderland. If you don't know where you want to go, any road will lead you there.
Oh, yes. I've often said that, and I couldn't remember where it came from. So now I know. Excellent. Um, you also have a section right at the beginning talking about the labeling problem. What do you mean by that?
I didn't realize that IT was in the middle of the word digital, and this is still seen this is still seen
That's
as a
good.
technical issue. Most executives still
Yes.
think this is a technical issue, and they have little understanding of the significant business and organizational and process and people changes they need to make if they're going to get value from the use of that technology.
Hmm.
Changes to the nature of their business, how they're organized, all that stuff they need to deal with. And also I learned going through that to try and introduce executives to process is a difficult task. They really don't have much time for process.
Right. It
So,
involves discipline, and it's
oh,
hard to
oh
it's
yeah,
hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I put up these flow charts of what we need to do and said, well, what are we trying to do? And I came up with what I called the 4 R's.
Yeah.
They said, well, why didn't you ask us that in the first place? Because we understand that. And the 4 R's were the four very simple questions. Are we doing the right things, which is the strategic question? Are we doing them the right way, which is the architecture question?
Hmm.
Are we getting them done well, which is the delivery question? And are we getting the benefits, which is the value question?
Hmm.
And they got that. But unfortunately today, we mostly still focus on the third question and we forget the well. Are we
Hmm.
getting them done
Right.
is really is what we
Right.
ask. Bugger the rest of it. So
Yeah, we got halfway there. Yeah.
I always open my discussions with boards and executives with these questions. And one time when I was early into this, I put these up on a flip chart, and the CFO of the organization, he went through it and he said, "Oh yeah, I think we're doing the right things. Yes, I think we're doing them the right way, and yes, we're getting them done well. Oh, are we getting the benefits? I better go back to the first question," he said.
Right. And
And
we have to figure
yeah,
out how to
what
measure it,
actually are we
right?
trying to do? And I'd
Right.
say that's the reaction I have in many many situations. And
Yeah.
I find the questions get the executive to think about these
Hmm.
things, and I can then have those. Then you can start talking about processes.
Excellent. Well, that's a great segue because you start by describing three core processes that you describe as P3M. Could you describe these
Yeah,
processes and their relationships to other processes in your framework?
yeah. I try to do it as quickly as I can. I like to call it P to the power of 3M, by the way,
Oh,
because I think
okay.
they build on each other.
Mhm.
So it's portfolio, program, and project management. And portfolios
Okay.
are portfolios of investments, which the board is responsible for. Programs are portfolio are business change programs, which the business is responsible for, and projects are technical projects, which project managers are responsible for.
Hmm.
And they're quite distinct things. They do different things for different people. And yet in our world today, they're all lumped under the project umbrella. And there's two reasons for that. One is the executives don't want to know about it. And the second is groups like APM and PMI make a lot of money out of having it in their portfolio.
Right, right. They do.
And so it's a challenge. So those are the key ones, but they don't work without being linked to. Well, in fact, they even miss out the fact that when your programs are generally to produced to deliver a capability, but then then they become assets that you have to manage. So really, it's collectively an investment process from building to using. So you need to have investment management as well as asset management as part of this too. And that's really a board and executive responsibility to make sure they're doing that. But you can't do that if you don't have strategy, which is what you want to do.
Right.
You can't do that if you don't have architecture, which is how does all this stuff fit together.
Right.
You don't have it if you don't have operation, because ultimately that's where the benefits are delivered. The benefits don't come until you've built it. And only when people start to deliver it and it's used do you get the benefits.
Right, and I can see the relationship to PMI and why they want to keep it, why it's there as well, because that's exactly what they preach too. So why do you think, so more broadly, why haven't they been more broadly implemented as you get into this?
Well, if I had the answer to that question, I'd be a rich man.
Yes.
But it's to start with. They're not, if you look at those, most of the leakage, I talk about value leakage. Most of the value leakage, 85% of that leakage comes from strategic and structural. It comes from the strategy and the architecture not being done well.
Okay.
53% is strategic and 32% is structural. Only 15% actually is at the project level. If you actually work out what you want and you know how it works, then the project is relatively easy to deliver. But it's the missing link between strategy, structure, and execution that is the problem.
Interesting. Very good.
And there's no ownership of that. And the key to that is portfolio management. Portfolio management is the link between the doing and what needs to be done.
Right. Well, that's great stuff. I'm sure our readers can't wait to look at your chapter and read what it's all about. So that's all the time we have for this segment. John, I wish to thank you for your time and discussing your contribution to the book, Digital Transformation Demystified. And that's all the time we have today. So until next time, I'm Dr. Frank Granito. Take care.
Thank you.